Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Heat's Jimmy Butler shares Eric Spoelstra's reminder that sparked him in win versus Mavericks. In the Miami Heat's huge win over the Dallas Mavericks Sunday night in overtime, 123-118, it was another great performance from their main star Jimmy Butler. The Heat forward was excellent against the Philadelphia 76ers and carried that performance from last Monday into a week later as he spoke about one aspect he honed in on due to conversations with Eric Spoelstra. Butler would finish with 33 points, collected 9 rebounds, and recorded 6 assists as he shot 11 of 17 from the field and was exceptional at getting to the free throw line, making 11 of 16 attempts. He would say after the game how he wants to be more aggressive, as Spoelstra is always advising behind the scenes. "I feel like I gotta start attacking more often whenever I'm aggressive like that, like the guys want me to be, like SPO always telling me to be," Butler said. "It opens up a lot more for everybody else. So if I can spearhead that part of the offense, we good. Now, just got to figure out how to do it on the defensive side." There were many highlight plays from the game, including Butler connecting on a thrilling behind-the-back, no-look shot at the paint late in the fourth quarter, and especially the dunk that tied the game to send it into overtime. He would speak about that moment, sing the praises of his head coach, and even credit Duncan Robinson for the inbounds pass. "Part of basketball, I'm just glad that we took this to overtime and won," Butler said. SPO, Spoelstra, is hellified. "You know, I just saw that he got voted the best coach in the association. Rightfully so, because he'd be locked in, he'd be studying and stuff like nobody I've ever seen. And he drew up something that was incredible. And I hate to say it, but Duncan made an incredible pass." Jimmy Butler spoke about the play that sent the game into OT, he sung the praises of Spoelstra, and admitted something about Robinson's pass on that play. "I hate to say it, but Duncan made an incredible pass, #Heat Nation, we're going to overtime." Butler finds an open land to tie the game and Dallas can't convert after. #Heat Nation. A type of performance like that fuels the rest of the team, as Heat center Bam Adebayo spoke about after the game, where with how he's aggressive and setting his team up, the team feeds off of it. Adebayo would finish the game with 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. "I mean, he's a smart player, man. He makes the right play all the time," Adebayo said. "And when it's all setting up and we feed off of it. You know, we have moments where sometimes it's Tyler, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him. And right now, it's him, and we're behind that." Related Miami Heat news: 3 Heat takeaways from thrilling overtime win versus Mavs. Bam Adebayo on Jimmy Butler's efforts and how the team feeds off of that. "I mean, he's a smart player, he makes the right play every time, we feed off that, #Heat Nation." How SPO and Butler forced OT, 2 more observations from Heat's win versus Mavs. 3 observations from the Miami Heat's 123-118 overtime win over the Dallas Mavericks on Sunday night at Casillas Center. 1. Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler force overtime. First, the obvious. Butler got fouled by Derek Lively 2 on the game-tying dunk. He should have had a chance to win the game at the foul line in regulation. But the refs missed the call and the Heat had to win it in overtime. Like he did in Minnesota, coach Eric Spoelstra drew up another slob that resulted in a wide-open shot at the basket off a back cut. The genius of this play is that after setting an initial screen for Butler, Kevin Love steps up and sets another for Tyler Herro beyond the three-point line. Lively and PJ Washington get confused about who should step up to switch on to Herro, and who should stick with Butler. Both get caught watching Herro, leaving Butler for an easy catch and score. 2. Tyler Herro getting to the basket. In what feels like the first time all season, the 3-ball wasn't going in for Herro. So what did he do? He took it to the rack, instead. Harrow missed 9 of his 10 three-point attempts but went 7 of 15 on two-pointers. After missing 3 straight three-pointers, Harrow scored his next 3 field goals on layups. We talk about Harrow's three-point shooting all the time, and for good reason, but his increased efficiency at the basket is also a huge part of his story. As you can see, the space he creates on the outside makes it easier for him to finish inside. 3. Pelle Larsson is a great cutter. Of Larsson's 5 made shots, 4 came in the restricted area and 1 came from the corner. Larsson's constant movement often sets him up to score from the most efficient areas on the court. He's already an advanced cutter, waiting for opponents to turn their head before making a break for the basket. He's cat-like, with impeccable timing and sneakiness. Just as important, his teammates know to look for him. Larsson played the 4th most minutes on the team on Sunday, more than Jamie Jaquez Jr. and forcing Josh Richardson into a DNP-CD. When Haywood Highsmith left the game with an illness, Spoelstra went to Larsson to close the game. Joel Embiid wanted Jimmy Butler instead of Paul George, potential reason for recent frustration. Joel Embiid has been visibly annoyed this season. And one of the reasons might be his new teammate. Yahoo Sports' Vincent Goodwill speculated that Joel Embiid wanted the 76ers to land Jimmy Butler in the offseason, and they chose to sign Paul George instead. And that has caused a lot of friction for Embiid, who sought a reunion with his former teammate. I'll tell you something else that I think is sticking Joel Embiid's craw. He wanted the 76ers, with all the changes they made. He wanted another player from the Miami Heat. He wanted Jimmy Butler. He wanted the 76ers, told them go get my guy. And we know at the end of the season, where Jimmy Butler sat with the Heat. Pat Riley called him out. Didn't get a contract extension? It felt like there was some level of opening. I don't think the discussions ever truly got serious. I don't think Joel Embiid has been happy even though they wound up getting Paul George. He wanted Jimmy Butler back over there, and he made that known. And they couldn't make it happen. Joel Embiid has always spoken fondly of Jimmy Butler and their brief time together on the 76ers. Most recently, after the Heat defeated the 76ers 106-89, Embiid lavished more praise on Butler, calling him the best player in the NBA. So one can imagine why Embiid would be frustrated with the 76ers. Embiid has also started to have issues with other teammates. It was reported recently that during the 76ers team meeting after their loss to the Heat, Tyrese Maxey called Embiid out for not being on time for team events and activities. Perhaps the situation in Philly is far more dire than fans had imagined. Could 76ers make a move for Butler? The 76ers obviously rebuffed any move for Jimmy Butler in the offseason and opted to sign Paul George instead. But, the trade deadline is still months away, and the 76ers could look to bring Butler in anyway. This would mean getting rid of George in any trade, as his $49.2 million salary is almost the same as Butler's $48.7 million salary. They might have to attach multiple pieces on either side to make this deal work. There is no way to make this trade happen without George and Butler switching sides. But what if the 76ers decided to go for a risky move and trade Joel Embiid to the Heat? It would have to be a massive haul for the 76ers, as they would be giving up a player who won the MVP just 2 seasons ago, and last season, averaged 34.7 points, 11.0 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 1.2 steals, and 1.7 blocks per game. The 76ers fell to 2-12 last night after a loss to the Grizzlies, and there is a level of unrest among their fan base that there hasn't been in several years. Perhaps it is time to call an end to the near-decade-long process and move on from Joel Embiid and give him what he wants, a long-awaited reunion with Jimmy Butler. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.